Hey guys, this is Scott with Texas Archery. As I've been saying, I have a great opportunity to get to hear stories like what Brian's about to share with us about his hunting experience. Brian has really an amazing story. He just came in one day, was kind of telling it. I was just like, man, I have got to get you on camera to kind of tell me what's going on. So I have Brian Moreland here. Brian is gonna tell us a little bit about what type of bow he has, what type of equipment, and then we'll go ahead and go into the story. So, Brian, thank you for coming on the show.
Yes, sir.
What bow do you have?
Right now I'm shooting a Hoyt Factor 30, set up 29-inch draw length, 70-pound draw, shooting a QAD drop away rest. Really like that rest. One of my first bows I started with a QAD.
Okay.
And then I switched. I tried a couple different ones, and I always go back to it. I like it. It's a tech rub.
Yeah, it is.
And I've been shooting this same sight for a while. I would like to upgrade it, but it's the HHA Optimizer Ultralight Slider. For the money, you can't beat it.
No.
But
no,
yeah, it's real nice.
Well, great. Thank you. What arrows were you shooting?
Shooting a FMJ 340 with a Slick Trick Grist Trick 2.
Okay.
And let me tell you, this thing puts a whole...
Does it? I'm going to go ahead and paint a picture for our viewers. He's on a hunt, on a whitetail hunt. Mm-hmm. You're with your wife, and I think you pick on her a little bit too, right?
Yeah, she's scared of the dark sometimes.
Yeah, scared of the dark. And so you guys the night before, you go ahead and tell me what were you doing the night before you went on your whitetail hunt the next morning?
Yeah, we decided to go out predator calling out there in West Texas, man. Predator calling is like none other. It's awesome. And we do have a lot of fox and bobcats, things of that nature. And the past couple of years, we've had a lot of mountain lion activity. And we were out calling. We didn't have much luck on the foxes that night. So the last 10 or 15 minutes we were sitting there, I put on some mountain lion calls just to see what my wife would do. And man, she freaked out. She's like, turn it off. We gotta go back to camp. You're gonna give me nightmares, things of that nature. And didn't get to see a mountain lion that night. But the next morning, it was crazy. We stayed out a little later than I anticipated, so I woke up a little late.
Okay.
And I got to the stand about probably 30 minutes later than normal. Full moon, so it was nice and bright. And sat down about 5 minutes later, I heard rocks rustling. I'm like, dang, the deer getting here early this morning.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, this line, like literally 3 feet in front of me, I could have reached right out my window and petted it if I wanted to. And it just stands there and it just turns and it looks at me. I'm like, this thing's peering into my soul, man. And
so you're there. Of course, you have a pistol with you, right?
No.
No. No, you're just out there with just your bow. Okay. So what happened next?
Man, we had a stare down for probably about 30 or 45 seconds, and I was like, I don't know, can this thing see me? Can it smell me? Do I need to reach for an arrow? I'm getting nervous, thinking it might jump in here. It's just looking at me.
Yeah.
And it kind of crouched down and started to sneak away. And whenever it snuck away, I reached over. I was like, man, nobody's going to believe this ever happened. I was like, I got to try. It was still dark. It was about 30 minutes before sunset, but like I said, it was full moon. And I could see the silhouette of the cat. And that's one of the reasons why I like the single pin is because you can't see your pin that good at nighttime, obviously, but I know where the end of that post is.
Right.
So that was my saving grace. When it started to walk away, it was right at about 5 yards.
Okay.
And I reached over to grab my bow off the hanger on my hub blind, and I knew whenever I pick it up real fast, it makes a little creak and crack sound. And I was like, either this is going to spook it or this is going to stop it. Well, sure enough, as soon as I picked it up, it stopped and it looked back. And when I went to draw back, I don't know if it saw me move in my blind or what, but it actually turned perfectly broadside. And I was like, there it is. So I just let it fly.
How far away were you?
5 yards.
5 yards.
Yeah.
The sucker's 5 yards away. That's amazing.
5 yards, yeah.
So it runs off.
After it did about a 6 foot vertical.
Yeah, wow. And so it runs off. How long did you wait before you went to go try to find it?
I wasn't, because it was still dark. I thought I had hit it, like I heard it do the bloop bloop, you know. I was like, I got it. The way it jumped, did the mule kick. I was like, oh, I definitely hit it. But whenever it landed, it ran about probably 5 foot, and then it stopped. It turned back and looked at me again, and then it just walked off. I'm like, did I miss? So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go through my hunt, do my normal hunt, and I'll look for it when I get out because I don't want to go track a wounded cat in the dark with a bow.
Right.
So yeah, I went through my normal hunt and got out of the stand, found my arrow covered in blood, and it man, that thing left a blood trail like Ray Charles could follow.
Really?
So I was like, oh yeah, I definitely got that, and I started following the trail, and it was about, she ran probably about 25-30 yards, and I found her laying under the bush. I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave her alone. I'm going back to camp, get my wife. She's gonna find it.
Yeah.
So I went back to camp, acting all paranoid and aggravated, and mind you, this is on a Sunday morning, and we have a 7-hour drive ahead of us to get back home.
Yeah.
So I go back and I'm rushing. I like pulled into camp, slammed on the brakes. She's like, what? I said, I wounded a deer. I can't find it. I was like, I need you to come help me. She's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. I was like, I can't find it. I found the arrow. I was like, come help me. I can't find any blood. She's like, all right. Well, she knew something was wrong. She said she could tell by the way I was acting. And I had the arrow and the bow sitting right there in the buggy, and she got in and she picked up the arrow, and she saw the white and the tan hair on the broadhead. She's like, well, you're not lying. I thought you shot a pig or something, and you're just messing with me. I was like, no, I can't find it. She's like, well, that looks like deer hair. So we go and get down there, and I was like, my arrow was here. It ran over here, and she all she did was stand right here and turn and look. And she's like, well, I don't know how you can't find any blood. There's a big old pile of it right there. And then she starts walking, and I'm just laughing. And I'm walking behind her, kind of recording her. And she's like, wow, this is horrible. She's never really been around bow hunting a whole lot.
Yeah.
And she's like,
so a lot of blood, right?
Yeah. She's like, this is horrible. I was like, hey, it works. So we go walking. And she walked up to the bush where it was at. She followed the blood trail, and that thing was probably 2 or 3 foot from her underneath the bush, and she still hadn't seen it yet. She's like, where's it at? I was like, it's right there. So she looked down and she's like, ooh, that ain't no deer, bro. Just freaking out. She's like, I had nightmares last night, and there it is.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
A once in a lifetime trophy, man. I was really excited and happy to get it.
That is an amazing story. Thank you for coming on to our show. And that is a wrap for Hunt and Tell.